Yo, welcome everybody back to the JV Sports Room. As usual, your host, JDino, the other half of the team behind the scenes, my man Vince.
Yeah.
It's the brother show, so I like to reintroduce one of my brothers from another mother. Big body boy back in the building.
Yes, sir. We in here.
Welcome back, brother.
Hey, appreciate you. Appreciate you for having me. Hey, feels good to be back.
Well,
What a week, man. What a week.
it sure was, man. So let's kick it off from the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
With those Philadelphia Eagles, let's get, the elephant out of the room right now.
Yeah, man.
It finally happened.
It did. It did.
The Philadelphia Eagles take their first loss on prime time, Monday night, to the Washington Commanders.
Dolphins fans, 72 Dolphins fans, you guys could take a deep inhale.
Not gonna happen.
Exhale. It's not going to happen this year. Yeah, man, we took that first loss on Monday night. And to be honest with you, I feel good about it. I feel okay. I mean, I had conversations this past week with people, and I just felt something in the air. I kept saying, it's going to happen.
Right.
The loss is going to come. It's the NFL. I mean, these are the greatest athletes in the world. It's going to happen. It's a long, grueling season.
Yeah, for sure.
And for it to happen in the NFL, it's really hard to beat a team. But to beat a team twice,
Right.
especially a division rival, you
Right.
play each other twice a year, every year. It's Monday night,
Wait. Just got the monkey off your back.
Yeah,
you guys just did.
Hey,
man.
for real, no. You say that, and it is a big monkey off our back. We were playing two games. The team were playing on Sundays and Mondays, but also playing that game with, are you going to go undefeated? Who's going to beat you? Are you,
A mental game.
It was a mental game, man. And now it's kind of like, now we can take a deep breath and say, you know what? We got that taste of a loss, and we can grow from it. And the guys in the locker room, everything is positive. Everybody's just coming together. Jalen Hurts has got the team and rounding everybody up, and everybody's on the same page. It was an ugly loss. It was one of those losses that happens to teams. I mean, we've seen it happen to the Bills this season.
Right.
All the greats, Kansas City lost to the Colts.
Right.
It's one of those games where just anything that could have went wrong.
Right.
Down to, missed penalties by referees.
That was a blatant face mask.
Towards the end of the game. And unfortunately, Dallas Goedert is out now.
So that was a loss twice on that one play.
Yeah, two losses there. I mean, even early in the game, Jalen Hurts drops a dime, double covered, A.J. Brown, dime, hits him right in the hands. Couldn't have thrown it any better. And what does it do? It bounces off his hands.
Right into Washington's?
Falls right into Washington defender's hands. So just one of those games. Even to the Quez Watkins play. Jalen Hurts, another dime, put it right on the money. Quez Watkins makes a great catch. Unfortunately, falls to the ground, gets up, ball security, gets tackled, fumbles the ball. And just one of those games. It happened, guys. Shout out to the Washington Commanders. We said early in the season, before the season, that, Washington was going to surprise some people.
Right.
And I remember Jarvis came in and told us that we were fools for that. Hey, man, this Washington team, early in the season, dealing with the, Carson Wentz issues, I think they got something now.
Right.
I think they got something with Tyler Heineke. There's some magic there.
There's definitely chemistry, if nothing else.
Yeah, chemistry's there. Terry McLaurin has upped his game now. Getting Jahan Dotson back was a great addition. Making every third down, I think we got him in. It's just, here's Terry McLaurin with a big catch. Here's Jahan Dotson with a big catch.
And again, Brian Robinson. That's been huge.
And that's another addition. It took him early. Remember, he got shot.
Right.
Got shot twice, weeks before the season. And now he's finally getting his footing right, and he's
ever since he was reintroduced to many men.
yeah, facts.
He came out and he's been balling ever since, man. Yeah. It took him a little bit of time to get it going,
right?
But he's starting to find his
rolling
groove,
now.
man.
He's gonna have a big week this week against the Texans. But no, going back to the game. Really, at the end of the day, the only thing that has changed for the Philadelphia Eagles is instead of a 0, there's a 1 in our loss column. That's it.
That little cushion that you guys had before, that little cushion is gone now. You've allowed everybody to catch up, but you guys are still at the top.
Unfortunately for us, the NFC East is the best division in football. Everything I said in the offseason about the AFC West, put it towards the NFC East now. All 4 teams,
NFC beast.
All 4 teams, if played correctly, could make the playoffs. It's going to take a lot to get there.
I spoke to another JV team member of ours, Isaiah, and he's pretty confident that, especially with this win right here against Philly, if he feels like it could have given the Commanders some momentum, Especially like you said against Houston next week, and they actually have somewhat of a cupcake schedule for the rest of the season, so it's not out of sight at all.
Yeah, you mentioned the cupcake schedule. You mentioned the momentum they have now, getting their weapons back, but there's still one big weapon on the other side of the ball, the Predator himself, Chase Young, on the sidelines now. There's rumors that he could be healthy enough to come back.
He's been out like a season and a half at this point.
Yeah, man, getting Chase Young
back.
With them Alabama boys in the middle.
Yep.
Man, that defense it could be enough to carry them with stellar play from Tyler Heineke. So
facts. Well, before we talk about these Commanders any further, let's go back to these Eagles. You guys got the Colts coming up this week, and with Jeff Saturday as the coach now, he's bringing a whole new culture. He instantly put Matt Ryan back into the starting helm, and Jonathan Taylor's back too. So how do you feel about the Eagles matchup next week at Indianapolis?
It's one of those, man, you don't feel great coming in. I mean, anytime there's a new change in the organization, a new head coach, somebody that's very familiar with that organization, you kind of take a second look. Now that especially now that we're coming off a loss.
Right.
I will say this, though. Nothing has changed with this Philadelphia Eagles team. We are still, on paper and on the field, one of the best teams in the league. I mean, we could beat you in many ways. I would not let this Washington loss take anything away from what this Philadelphia Eagles team can do to you on the ground with the running game, through the air, and on defense.
Very true. Now, the only thing I will say is you guys did get kind of banged up this week.
Yes.
Now, obviously, Dallas Goedert is already out for an extended period of time.
That's going to be a big loss.
So that, like you said, big loss. And AJ, he went out of the game along with Jason Kelsey. Yep. So there was a couple scares last week. Got to make sure these guys are ready for the next game. So
yeah, I think we'll right the ship, and I think we'll win a tough game against a very motivated Colts team. The Jeff Saturday hire was very controversial. I know, there's been a lot of opinions about it.
Right.
I'm on the fence of, I kind of like it. It's new. It's fresh. There's no experience, no college experience, no NFL coaching experience. But when you have a locker room, anything can happen.
I saw on the other side, those Commanders, like we said, man, got a nice schedule coming up, starting with these Houston Texans, which Saquon ran for 35 carries for 152 yards against last week. And then the week before that, you guys ran all over them as well. Yeah. I think it's safe to say start Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson this week in fantasy football.
If you could do one thing against the Texans, you could definitely run on them. Passing, we'll see. Derek Stingley's actually playing really good football for a rookie. But yeah, you could definitely run against Houston. They're going to play people tough. They played us tough on Thursday night. It wasn't a cakewalk for sure. And they're playing, they have nothing to lose.
And they stuck around against us Giants. But when you got a monster like Saquon that could just, pound it into you, game's over after that. But I definitely do think it should be a nice test for these Washington Commanders. They've got to show that they can continue this streak after beating a good team like, Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, let's see what Washington can do.
I mean, let's not hope that they put all into beating us and then you come in next week and you have a dud. I mean, it's the NFL. It happens. You have that high of highs, and then you come out next week flat, and you end up taking a loss to the Houston. So it could happen.
It could happen. Don't see it happening, but it could. But we said it was the brother show. And that's because there was a few sets of brothers that actually faced off this past week.
Yeah.
In the Week 10 thriller, those Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook beat Buffalo Bills and younger brother James Cook. And what I can say is a classic, right? One of the greatest endings to a football game that I've seen personally.
The last minute of regulation was the wildest minute of regulation football I've ever seen in my life. I watched a lot of football in my day. I mean, a minute left in the game. Kirk Cousins has the ball, 1st and goal. The center steps on him, or the guard, I forget who it was, steps on him. He falls down. I mean, you're down 4 at this point. Then you get Jefferson down at the 1-yard line on a. First of all, Justin Jefferson. Let me not cross him over real quick. 10 catches, 194 yards. I remember we've had plenty of conversations about Justin Jefferson. We said, is there more to see? And I kept saying,
oh my God,
yes, there is more to see, and we're seeing it right now. He may go down as. And it's too soon to say that, but he's the best wide receiver in football right now. I would say that. He's the best.
By far the best dynasty football receiver, right?
Hands down. And if you got him in Dynasty, you hold him until he calls it a career. But anyway, going back to the game, I mean, you get Jefferson down at the 1 yard line. Thought he was in. Referees called back. He's down at the 1. Now it's 4th and goal with like 50 seconds left on the clock. And Kirk Cousins takes the ball, throws it to Dalvin Cook in the flats, and he drops the ball. But then there's an offsides penalty. It's just, and it keeps going back from there. You get the ball back. Kirk Cousins tries to run the ball in. He gets stopped at the goal line.
Turnover
on downs. Now the Bills have the ball, up 4.
And what happens?
With their back against the goal line. And you think all they got to do is just run some clock and call it a game.
Nope.
Josh Allen fumbles the snap under center, back against the goal.
At the inches.
At the inch line. And they score, and the Vikings end up scoring a touchdown off of that. It was just the wildest game. I mean, then Josh Allen goes down the field, gets the team in field goal position. They tie the game.
Huge catch by Gabe Davis, finally.
It was just wild. They kicked the field goal, tie the game. And then we're going to overtime, and it goes on from there. I mean, Vikings kick the field goal. Josh Allen comes down, throws the big interception to Patrick Peterson. Game over.
So many huge plays. When I said thriller,
yeah,
I wasn't lying. I mean, some like you said, Justin Jefferson, huge game. Dalvin Cook, 14 carries, 119 yards, touchdown. But that huge drop at the very end, which, could have won the game a lot earlier. But, hey, man, what it was wild. Game,
I mean, Stephon Diggs, the players that you wanted to have big games had big games. I mean, Stephon Diggs had a big game. Josh Allen had a big game, even with all the turnovers. Even with the injury coming in, that was a question mark whether he should have played or not.
Exactly.
I think he didn't show me anything to say he shouldn't have played. He was still running people over, running the ball.
Until late, when he missed that big throw.
Right.
And that looked like it could have had something to do with the injury. Personally, I thought he was managing the game early, like you said, with his legs, running the ball. Dev Singletary had 2 touchdowns early, but they were running the ball, and he didn't really have to force too many throws. So I did see maybe a little hiccup in his game late when he had to unleash it. But either way, great game, man.
No, for sure. And definitely shouts out to Jay Money, because I remember on the prediction show, he predicted these Vikings making some noise this year. And they literally right there. I mean, their one loss this season came to the best team in NFL, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. So the arrow's pointing up for these Vikings.
Very, very
The division is locked up right now. Now they're playing against us, against the Eagles for that number 1 seed right now. And
does it continue next week against the Dallas Cowboys? They get another big test.
A big test. And shouts out to Jarvis. I seen you shouted me out last week, man. I appreciate you, brother. But that was a big loss. Big loss to the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, it was, man. And for them to give up the game so late, man. They were up 14 in the 4th quarter.
That's a fact. And now the spotlight is spotting on Dak Prescott right now. His back's against the wall.
Yep.
It's put up a shut-up time against one of the best teams in the NFC, in the Vikings. This could be, this is a big game. This is a really big game, especially with the Eagles coming off a loss. If the Vikings were to win and, things happen, who knows? But this is playoff football time.
Yep.
We're getting to the second half of the season, and every game is starting to matter.
Yep.
Every win, every loss is all going to add up at the end of the day.
So do these Minnesota Vikings slow down against that Dallas Cowboy defense next week?
It's hard to see. You got the Diggs Jefferson matchup. That's going to be interesting to watch. You got Micah Parsons still, making some noise on the edge. I think the TJ Hawkinson addition is giving Kirk Cousins another big weapon.
Yep.
We're seeing him on lock now.
Yep.
I still got these Vikings to put a beating down. Could be biased. Because it's the Cowboys. But these Vikings might put a beat down against these Cowboys. They can't run the ball. They got to figure out the Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott situation, because it's going to get spooky real soon.
I definitely think the Dallas Cowboys defense will be stingy against Minnesota for sure. But I think you said it, man. Dak is on the hot seat right now. He's got to show up, man. Dak can't get it together, and he's throwing the ball, like Jarvis said, 40, 50 times a game since he's been back. he's got to be a lot more efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're going to let Christian Watson go for 3 touchdowns against you, just imagine what Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, TJ Hawkinson is able to do against you. So
even KJ Osborne got 11 targets last game.
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins was slinging that thing, man.
Hey, Kurt Cole, man. Young Kurt Cole.
At least he had a shirt on this time, right?
Hey, shouts out to Kirk Cousins, man. Huge game. I mean, one big throw. He had pressure in his face, and he just throws the ball as he's falling backwards. Kirk Cousins, and if it's not prime time,
huge plays in that game.
If it's not prime time, hey, Kirk Cousins is stellar. He's a stellar quarterback. But it's them prime time games. It's prime time's Kirk Cousins. It's a toss up, man. But
I know we mentioned them a couple times already, but I just have to mention that catch that Justin Jefferson had.
Oh yeah,
where the man literally took it from the defender's 2 hands, like he snagged it like a rebound in basketball.
Yeah.
From deep, too, man.
Yeah, we had the Pickens catch earlier this year. This catch is right up there with that one. I mean, I don't know what they're teaching these LSU kids, Odell Beckham, and now Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
But my goodness, man, it's unreal with what he's able to do.
Facts, man. But on the other side now, those Buffalo Bills, they got what I think is more of a test than most may think, and the Cleveland Browns. Yes. Another stingy defense with actually a good run D, which is going to make Josh Allen throw this ball more.
Right.
Do we want Josh Allen slinging that thing all game against Cleveland, man?
Pause. We do, yes. Josh Allen still needs to be Josh Allen. He's going to have to throw the ball down the field. They're still having, we had a big game from Devin Singletary, 2 touchdowns. But Josh Allen still needs to run the ball. He still needs to, have that Cam Newton-esque game plan and run the ball, beat you through the air, beat you on the ground. Stephon Diggs is still one of the best wide receivers in the game. Yeah, man. But the Cleveland Browns are going to be a tough out. Cleveland Browns are playing good football. They can run the ball on anyone. With the 2-headed monster they have there. Jacoby Brissett is doing enough to keep them in games. Yep. And, we had our Watson watch in the offseason. Yep. And Watson is coming back to practice, so he's getting ramped up.
Almost there.
He's on ramped up to get ready for his comeback against Houston.
Yep.
So if I'm Cleveland, I'm just doing whatever I can to scrape together as many wins as I can so we can get Watson back and see what happens. But
agreed, man. They need to try to do what they can to try to take advantage of, a down Buffalo Bills team right now. Obviously, they lost, and they're hurting right now. So they need to do what they can to pull this game out, man, because it could give them a chance at still possibly making a playoff run if Watson comes back and can lead them to it.
Now, do we still have the Bills as the best team in the AFC? Or, it's too many losses.
I think I oversaid it last week, even before it happened. But when I was talking to Jarvis, I said the Kansas City Chiefs are actually the best team in the AFC right now. And I said that not really knowing this loss was going to happen, but I think it's hands down at this point in time now.
I agree with you. KC is rocking and rolling right now. But like I said, was it 2 weeks ago when I was on the show, man, my sleeping giant in the AFC is the Miami Dolphins.
Yep. And they're playing good now, too. Yeah. We're going to get into them a little more later, too.
For sure.
All right, so we'll keep it on the offensive side of the ball and talk about the next set of brothers, the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Equanimeous St. Brown, the Detroit Lions, and the comeback thriller, what it turned out to be, against the Chicago Bears. They come back and beat them.
Yeah, man. They do. Lions, Tigers, and Bears, oh my. It's they got it, man. The Lions have it.
They do.
They're missing a couple pieces on the defensive end, but the offense is there. They're getting good play from Jared Goff. Is he the answer long term? To be determined. We'll see. Big quarterback class coming out next year, but the weapons are in place. You mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown.
10 catches, 119 yards.
It's Cooper Kupp-esque. Week after week after week, he's just right place, right time. He's always open. Kid's a dog.
Yeah.
He's definitely got that dog in him.
And he's small, so it's like he gets lost in the defense sometimes.
Right. And Equanimeous, not so much. I mean, big brother's not really as productive as your little brother.
He had 2 carries for 9 yards.
But the star of the last, I would say, 3 or 4 weeks in the NFL, that boy Justin Fields, man. Ooh. That boy Justin Fields. This is what we saw coming out of Ohio State. Yeah. This is the athlete that we saw.
He's a freak, man.
He's a big kid. He can run like a gazelle. This is what we saw. What we saw early in the season, something was off. So definitely shout out to head coach Matt Eberflus. Shout out to offensive coordinator Luke Getsy for figuring it out.
Facts.
And taking a player and what they do well and working with them and putting a game plan together to get the most out of him.
Yes, sir.
You know, you see a lot of so often that teams, you know, oh, I don't want this player because he doesn't fit my scheme. Right,
right.
The kid is great.
Yeah.
Let him be great.
Yeah, let him fit his scheme. You cater to his scheme.
And I mean, he's doing it all with his feet, with his arm.
Literally.
Justin
12
Fields.
for 20 for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns in the air.
Yep.
And then another 13 carries for 147 yards and another 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Yep.
That's coming after 178 yards on the ground the week before. I mean, the kids got it. For sure.
The kids got it, man. They're putting the pieces in place. I kind of ridiculed the Chase Claypool addition, but if we're thinking long term, I mean, the Bears are going to be if they can continue this, and this is not just a fluke, 3 or 4 week run,
right.
And they can continue to evolve and add different layers to their offense, and even Justin Fields can evolve his game and his arm. The Bears are going to be something to reckon with in the seasons to come. I mean, we're getting Mike Vick-esque games out of him, like big, strong arm, strong kid. He can run.
Imagine trading him in fantasy right about now.
Hey, I did just move him. I had
a good deal.
Had to strike while the iron's hot. Man.
Absolutely, man. But these Detroit Lions, man, they get to come to New York next week. And sorry, Detroit, that 2-game winning streak coming to an end, baby. What you think about that game, man?
Hey, it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, man. But at the end of the day, I just don't know if the Detroit Lions defense is going to be able to contain. Yeah, I'll say that, contain that boy Saquon Barkley.
Can't do it, man.
He's rocking and rolling right now, man.
He is, man.
It's good. It's good to see.
He's got my vote for Offensive Player of the Year. Just shouting that out right about now.
Yeah, I'm not against that. I'm not against Brian Dable as Coach of the Year. I'm not against that at all, man. What I'm seeing out of New York is definitely surprising me. It's surprising a lot of people. It's pretty cool to see how a coach can change a culture literally overnight. Pretty much the same roster. Yep. The weapons are still, there, not there. Kenny Galladay's probably out of there. And you're scraping together wins.
Maybe a vengeance game for Kenny Galladay against Detroit this week? I hope not.
Nah. I think he's out of there mentally, physically, emotionally, all that, man. But man, you really can't sleep on these Lions. They're rocking and rolling right now.
They're rocking and rolling, but like I said, comes to an end this week, baby.
I'm with that, man.
Can't see it, man.
I'm with that.
But those Chicago Bears, they go to Atlanta next week, which for some reason has been a surprisingly inconsistent team. They've been winning games we don't expect, and
losing games.
Let's just put it like this: I never had my money on the Atlanta Falcons, but this game next week, it's a toss-up for sure.
With the way the roster is set up, and I'm just speaking as I'm not a fan of this team, but the way the roster is set up and the way they're playing, it's kind of unfortunate that they're winning games because if it's me, I want Arthur Smith out of there.
Thanks.
Because we take the number 4 overall pick and we draft a young stud tight end, Kyle Pitts. We take another early first-round pick, top 10 pick, and take Drake London in the first round.
Another huge offensive weapon.
These guys, they're throwing the ball 13 times. I mean, but they're winning games. But that's the issue, is they're winning games.
Right.
Like you said, they're winning the games you don't think they should win, and then they're losing games you think it's ugly. But
shout out to their run game, though. Cordero Patterson and that boy Tyler Algier getting it done on the ground.
No, for sure.
So, hey, they getting it done on the ground and beating teams. Do they beat the Chicago Bears this week?
No. That defense is dog water. That defense is dog water. Justin Fields is going to have a field day.
Yeah, you're going to have a field day.
He's going to have a field day all over ATL, man. Start Justin Fields in fantasy for sure.
Probably going forward.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Stud, man. But on the other side of the ball, all right, we got to see defensive matchup. Well, we didn't get to see Joey.
Right.
But we saw Joey's team and the Chargers lose to Nick Bosa's team Those San Fran 49ers.
Yes, sir.
That was a good game too, man. Low key. The Battle of the West, right?
Yeah.
Both divisions underwhelming at this point in time. But it turned out to be a pretty good game. Joey didn't play. Nick had, 3 tackles and half a sack. So he made his presence felt. But San Fran comes away with that win.
Yeah, the big thing for me is San Fran. It's getting scary because they're getting healthy.
They're getting it together.
Elijah Mitchell comes back from the IR. So now you got the two-headed monster with Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey.
That was a nice little 1-2 punch.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Elijah Mitchell out-touched him in the running game, but Christian McCaffrey still had, I think it was like 20-something touches. He had 20 opportunities in the passing game.
Because he's a dual threat. So I think they're going to complement each other pretty well.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Brandon Ayuk is still making noise. George Kittle. I mean, the NFC, man. The NFC is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to whoever makes it out the NFC is gonna earn it. Because between the Niners, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Giants, whatever happens in Dallas, I mean, it's gonna be a dogfight to get out of the NFC, man.
What I do want to ask though is who would have thought that those Seattle Seahawks would be leading that division right now?
There you go. And that's the other one. Yeah.
Shout out to Ben. You didn't have much pride in your own team coming into this season, but you said it. They've got the weapons. They had the weapons. Right. They had a solid defense. Right. They improved their offensive line. I mean, they got everything Russell Wilson wanted before. Yeah,
that is a fact.
Except they're getting it done with Geno Smith now.
A fact. You ask yourself, what would the Denver Broncos look like if they had Geno Smith under the helm? If there's a surprising team, so many surprising teams this year. Yep. But the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, we had them dead to rights. I mean, we're talking about CJ Stroud. We're talking about, all these young quarterbacks coming out next year. And here they are, number one in the division, running game, doing it with Kenneth Walker.
He's looking good.
Geno is doing enough and more to, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett's scoring touchdowns. The biggest thing about the Seahawks, I will say this, and I think I touched it, when we was doing the draft coverage. The Seattle Seahawks draft this year will go down as one of the best draft classes in modern day.
Those corners they drafted, man.
Those corners that they drafted, Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant themselves. I mean, they're impacting games. They're making plays as rookies.
Huge plays.
Go down this draft class, a couple months from now and see, man, this kid making plays. This kid was making plays. This guy broke out. Yep. Seahawks, shouts out to you and your GM and your scouts. Y'all did the damn thing.
And shout out to you, because I remember you saying that this was low-key one of the best drafts. And you've seen it before a lot of people.
That's a fact.
Let's keep it in the West, man, because we got a couple big West matchups, right? We're talking about those Chargers. They play KC this week. Talk about a true test.
Yeah, man, that's a prime time.
We said that was the best team in the AFC right now.
Yeah.
Can the Chargers beat them?
I think typical Chargers fashion, they're dealing with injuries. It's Joey Bosa here. It's Keenan Allen there. It's Mike Williams here. It's too much adversity on the offensive side. I mean, you're down both your star wide receivers in Keenan Allen, Mike Williams,
and he keeps re-aggravating that injury. Keenan Allen,
he says he's going to practice. I think he's practicing this week, limited, but he keeps aggravating. He's getting that age. He's 30 years old. I mean, it might be time to look elsewhere. But I just think these Chiefs, man, and Patrick Mahomes, I had him as my MVP this year, and that's looking like it's gonna hold.
Hope you bet on that.
It's looking like it's gonna hold. I mean, he's playing lights out football. It looks too easy for him, honestly. It looks too easy. Isaiah Pacheco is officially taken a hold of that number one RB spot and is explosive and you could just tell there's a different level when the ball's in his hands, like a different speed.
That's Jay Money's boy, man.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco, pick him up off the waiver wire. If he's out there, scoop him up. We saw Kadarius Toney. Now he's fully involved in the offense. Scored a touchdown this past week. Chiefs are going to be.
We said it, man. Patty's going to find anybody
for sure
and everybody.
For sure.
He's going to get it done, man.
Juju would have had a big game, but he unfortunately got knocked out with the concussion. Ugly concussion there.
So I think it's safe to say KC probably pulling this one out next week.
Yeah, I mean, too much Kelsey. too much Isaiah Pacheco, too much Mahomes at the end of the day.
At the end of the day,
you know, Marquez Valdez-Scantling will have a big touchdown catch. It's going to be too much. I mean, the banged up. I mean, J.C. Jackson banged up. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. It's too much on Justin Herbert. He just doesn't have enough. You know, it's Austin Eckler and Josh Palmer.
He's doing his best because he's, been one of the best dual threat backs in the league.
Oh, yeah. It's just going to be too much. You're going to have to go fire for fire, and you got Josh Palmer and who else? I don't know.
DeAndre Carter.
Jalen Guyton and DeAndre.
Last week.
Yeah, Jalen Guyton, DeAndre Carter. I mean, who knows? So, KC, easy.
All right. So, in the West, in the NFC side, though, San Fran, big test against a division rival and those Arizona Cardinals who seem to have got it together lately. Yeah. That boy DeAndre Hopkins being back in the mix is huge. Huge addition getting D-Hop back, man. Nuke is playing like he's 25 again. Right.
It's nice to see. Rondell Moore is really having a stellar year coming in.
Low key, right?
Yeah. Low key, good season. You know, coming off with the hamstring, missed a couple weeks early in the season, but it's been steady Eddie from here on out. The issue with me is, Kyler's situation. I know he missed last week with the hamstring. You saw Colt McCoy get the start.
Yep.
Did enough.
Yeah. He handed it off to James Conner for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Handed the ball enough to him so they let Eno Benjamin go.
Yeah.
And they cut him. He ends up in Houston. We'll see what happens with Kyler. If he's able to come back, and even if he is able to come back, do they roll? Hey, maybe they give Colt another week.
Why not?
Or maybe they just bring Kyler back.
Those Cardinals did take a tough loss, though. They lost Zach Ertz for the year, though. He's been real productive for them.
Yeah. I'm going to say Eagles Hall of Famer Zach Ertz, down for the year.
Yep.
It's going to be tough. Now you got rookie second-round pick, Trey McBride.
Let's see what he can do.
See if he can step up and maybe fill in the shoes. Maybe not. We'll see. But
all they need is a nice number 2 behind that boy DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. You have Hollywood Brown, no Hopkins. Hopkins come back, Hollywood Brown goes out. Now you have Hopkins and Rondell Moore, Zach Ertz. And then now Zach Ertz goes down.
But they did say Hollywood's supposed to be coming back off IR within the next couple weeks as well.
Hollywood's coming back. So, little by little, they're getting pieces. We'll see. It just may be too many injuries and a tough division. I'm watching the HBO Hard Knocks, and they're doing the in-season with the Arizona Cardinals. And it's interesting to see the behind the scenes with this roster. And, we saw DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray a week ago start having, a little conversation that looked kind of animated on the sidelines. Kyler's looking a little off right now. We'll see. I'm still taking the Niners on this one, man. The Niners are rocking and rolling.
I'm with you on that, man. I'm taking the Niners whether Kyler plays or not.
Right.
But I'm also with you on the side of let Kyler sit another week. I mean, this is a tough matchup. You're probably going to lose the game regardless.
Right.
So let your starting quarterback sit another week and get it together mentally and physically.
For sure.
But since it's a family affair, right? And we've been talking about relatives. We've been talking about brothers, but there was another set of relatives that played this week. Those Chubb cousins, right? Nick Chubb does all he can with those Cleveland Browns to try to beat these Miami Dolphins, and cousin Bradley Chubb.
Right.
It just unfortunately wasn't enough.
Was definitely not enough, man.
Miami is rolling.
Miami, I mean, we mentioned the Niners. We're talking the Miami 49ers, because they look just like the 49ers. They got the two-headed monster themselves now with Raheem Mostert and
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson, my goodness gracious. Like, where did he? He's always shown flashes in with the Niners, but he never really got the opportunity to fully take the helm as a running back. But, man.
That committee between the two of them is looking nice right now, man.
For sure. I mean, they could do it all. I mean, running the ball, they look like the nine. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is just. Earlier this year, we talked about people, Tyreek Hill saying that he was more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, and we kind of laughed at that a little bit, like, really? But man, Tua is accurate, man.
He's looking good.
He threw a touchdown pass to Trent Sherfield in the back of the end zone, and he couldn't put it anywhere else. It was a beautiful pass, and with those weapons, I had a conversation with a Miami Dolphins fan, and I gave Tua this comparison. Tua is not, in the modern NBA, we have these point guards like Ja Morant, these flashy point guards that's going to give you 30 and dunk on people and hit big shots. Tua's not that. No. Tua is more like a Jason Kidd. He's a manipulator, like old school Chris Paul. Methodical. He's going to dump off. He's going to get the guys where they need the ball. He knows, I know this guy likes the ball here. He's going to give it. very methodical. And I said the sleeping giant is in Miami, and I'm going to stick to it. They're going to be tough to beat with that running game and that speed. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill really didn't do much this game.
No, but what they did was they opened that field up enough.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? That speed on the outside, like literally, you have to guard that. So you can't guard that front too. So shout out to Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, man. Really, really showing that they can be effective when it's not 7, 8 bodies on them. You know, they find holes.
And salute to Mike McDaniel to be able to put it all together, the mastermind himself.
Yeah, man.
He's got the weapons, and he just knows it's a perfect formula. You got the 2 speedsters to take the top off the defense, and then you got the running game to keep people honest. So you can't play you up because of the speed, and you can't play back because of the running game. It's going to be tough to beat, man. It's going to be tough to beat.
You're definitely going to have to outscore those Miami Dolphins on the regular.
Sure.
I mean, these Cleveland Browns definitely couldn't do it. Only put up 17 points to Miami's 39 this week.
Right.
Can they score more against the Buffalo Bills next week? I know we touched on it a little earlier. But can they at least, score a little more against them next week?
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. I mean, the Bills' defense is legit as well. They are legit. So I think they're going to put a little, maybe not completely stop Nick Chubb in the running game, but they're going to slow him down and make Jacoby Brissett beat him. I mean, he does have some weapons. Amari Cooper addition, he's been spotty, flashy here and there.
Yes.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has stepped his game up and becoming a solid number 2 for them.
Yes, very much so.
I just think it's going to be too much Josh Allen, too much Bills.
And we even saw Jay Money's boy, Harrison Bryant, get in the end zone last week, So
for sure.
Definitely a lot of nice young pieces in Cleveland, but that's definitely Buffalo Bills all day, right? And then those Miami Dolphins, they go into week 11 on a bye. So
it's time to rest up. Time to rest the cheetah, rest the penguin. And get ready for that playoff push, man, and that positioning.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. But, Big J, that's all the time we got for today.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you helping me break down a banging week 10 and looking forward to a week 11.
My brother.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check us out at sportjv.com. Support the merch, JDino 407 for savings. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't yet, mash that button. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And we got a quote for you guys from the legendary coach of the undefeated 1972 Dolphins, Don Shula. Success is not forever, and failure is not fatal. Thank you guys for watching.